before we finish here, give one advice to girls who want to do ministry or girls who want to do ministry, start a ministry or do something that God has called them to do, but just feel scared or just feel like they're not. Do you know what I mean? They don't feel like.
Okay, so let me first address the girls that God's called them to be who they were. God's
So advice, yeah, who God has called them to be.
um my advice for girls is, I think when your understanding of who you are grows and changes, it makes it easier to know and to walk it out. Does that make sense? So I think my advice will be just get deeper. Get deeper. And the thing is, the reason get deeper in knowing God. And I say get deeper in knowing God before you start knowing other people, because there's also a thing whereby you start to become who you're around. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but if you don't know who you are, you just become replicas of who you're around. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Like, you need to also understand what your DNA is. Does that make sense? So first know God, and of course get around people that will sharpen you. That's what I would say to that. And then for girls in ministry, the first things first, emotions. You actually have to learn how to, I know we say things that kill your emotions, but I think our emotions are also so important when it comes to being empathetic. Because women sometimes have learned to kill their emotions, that sometimes women can be so rude in ministry. They're so
Ruthless.
They're so ruthless. You know what I mean? So I would say learn how to suppress your emotions and to submit them under the Holy Spirit. Does that make sense? We have a soul for a reason. So learn to submit your emotions under the Holy Spirit. Do not move by your emotions, but let the Spirit of God guide you. And then number 2 for women in ministry, again, don't lose being a woman because you're a woman in ministry and because there's men there. Women in ministry, I feel like women in ministry feel like they have to become men to be heard. Like they want to be dominant and like, you can still be a woman and still be in ministry. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you don't have to take on a male persona or a male figure. I don't know if and like, for the girls that know that, like, you can still be a feminine woman and in ministry. And then the third one's going to be cliche, but it's okay to be a different woman. I think when you look at a lot of women's ministries, it's very similar. And it's not to say that God hasn't called them to be similar, but again, there's that thing of like, women know that they're called to ministry, so they replicate what they've seen in others. But I would say, like, I think there's more. Like, that's something I've been realizing with women ministries. There's more. We're very the same, very, very, very the same. And even if you're a woman, doesn't mean you're only called to women. There's also that. Women love to just gather women. No, you might be called to more. Does that make sense? So find out what makes you you. Does that make sense? Yeah.